First contact's mercy. The klaxon alarm ripped through the quiet night shift of Outpost Helios, startling Dr. Ilara Chen from her research notes. She looked up at the flashing red emergency lights, her heart racing. After 3 years on this remote scientific outpost orbiting Ta City E, alarms like this usually meant meteor impacts or atmospheric fluctuations, never anything truly dangerous. All personnel, unidentified object entering atmosphere on collision course. Impact in Sector 7. Medical and security teams report to Hangar Bay immediately, the automated voice announced over the station's comm system. Ilara grabbed her emergency medical kit and sprinted toward the hangar. As the station's lead xenobiologist, she was technically research staff, not medical, but on an outpost with only 43 crew members. Everyone had multiple roles. "What do we have?" she asked, joining Commander Reeves at the deployment vehicle. The commander's weathered face looked grim as he studied the holographic display. "Small craft, unknown origin. Definitely not one of ours. Trajectory suggests it's an escape pod or shuttlecraft. Heat signatures indicate one life form aboard. Alien." Ilara couldn't hide the excitement in her voice. "Most likely. Which is why I need you there. We've had trade with the Mantillian Confederation and the Satori Union, but this matches no known configuration." Reeves handed her a respirator. "Suit up. We leave in 2 minutes." The vehicle raced across the rugged terrain of the outpost's main research quadrant. Through the viewport, Ilara watched a thin trail of smoke rising from behind a nearby ridge. As they crested the hill, she saw it. A sleek, silvery craft about the size of 2 transport pods, half buried in the rusty soil. Its hull was made of a material that seemed to shimmer with an internal light despite the damage. "Beautiful," she whispered. Security Chief Donovan grunted next to her. "Beautiful or not, could be dangerous. We establish a perimeter first. The xenobiologist stays back until we clear it." Ilara bit her tongue. Donovan had been vocally opposed to any alien contact beyond established diplomatic channels. His paranoia was legendary among the crew. The team deployed with practiced efficiency. Scanner drones buzzed around the crashed craft, taking readings while security personnel established a perimeter. Ilara waited impatiently, clutching her medical kit. "Life signs are fading," announced Technician Yara, monitoring the scanners. "Oxygen levels inside the craft are dropping. Whoever's in there doesn't have long." Commander Reeves looked at Donovan, who shook his head firmly. "We don't know what we're dealing with. Could be a trap, could be carrying pathogens. Standard first contact protocols will result in a dead alien." Ilara cut in. "Commander, I volunteered for this outpost to study new life forms. If we let this one die because of bureaucratic caution, what are we even doing out here?" The commander studied her face, then nodded slightly. "Security team will cut an access point. Dr. Chen goes in with level 2 containment protocols. The rest of you maintain the perimeter." "Sir, I strongly object." Donovan started. "Objection noted," Reeves said flatly. "Now cut the damn door." Using plasma cutters, the security team created an opening in what appeared to be the craft's emergency hatch. Acrid smoke billowed out, carrying a strange, sweet smell. Ilara pulled on her protective gear and approached the opening. "Be careful," Yara called after her. Ilara activated her suit lights and climbed inside. The interior was bathed in a dim purple glow from failing emergency systems. Strange symbols flashed across control panels, and the air felt thick despite her respirator. She moved deeper into the craft, following her scanner's indication of life signs. In what appeared to be the cockpit, she found the pilot. The alien was slumped over the controls, restrained by something resembling a harness. Its body was humanoid but more slender, with skin that seemed to shift between deep purple and midnight blue. Most striking were the 4 slender arms, 2 of which appeared broken or dislocated. Where a human would have hair, this being had what looked like crystalline filaments that caught the light and refracted it into tiny rainbows. I found the pilot, Ilara reported through her comm. Humanoid, approximately 170 centimeters tall. Multiple injuries. Unconscious but alive. Species identification. Commander Reeves asked. Nothing I recognize. Definitely not Mantilian or Satori. Ilara carefully approached the alien, her scanner taking vital readings. Their physiology is oxygen-based, but with different. Wait, that can't be right. Her scanner was showing something impossible. The alien's blood appeared to contain metallic compounds that formed complex molecular structures unlike anything in her database. What's wrong? Reeves asked. Their blood chemistry is unlike anything I studied. I need to get them back to my lab immediately if they're going to survive. Donovan's voice cut in. Negative. We contain the alien here until we can establish communication and intent. They'll die before that happens, Ilara replied, carefully examining the restraint system. Commander, this being needs immediate medical attention. I can't provide that in a crashed ship. There was a pause before Reeves responded. Can you move them safely? I believe so. Ilara was already working on releasing the restraints. Their skeletal structure seems similar enough to ours that standard stabilization should work. Bring them out, Reeves ordered. Donovan, prepare a containment unit in the transport. As Ilara worked to free the alien, she noticed something clutched in one of its hands, a small device that pulsed with a faint blue light. She carefully removed it and secured it in a sample bag before continuing. Getting the alien out of the craft was challenging. Despite its slender build, the beam was surprisingly dense, and the awkward positioning of its four arms made maneuvering difficult. Outside, the team waited with a stretcher and containment unit. That's a Vesperidian, gasped Yara when she saw the alien. Ilara looked up sharply. You recognize this species. Only from intelligence briefings. They're an advanced civilization from the Sagittarius arm. Extremely private, rarely engage with other species. They've had conflicts with human exploratory missions before. Donovan immediately raised his weapon. Then we should neutralize the threat now. Stand down, ordered Reeves. No one is neutralizing anything. The Vesperidians have attacked 3 human outposts in the last decade, Donovan argued. They're hostile to human expansion. This one is unconscious and injured, Ilara said, positioning herself between Donovan and the alien. And we're not executioners. The journey back to the outpost was tense. Ilara monitored the alien's vital signs, which continued to deteriorate. In the medical bay, she found herself largely alone. The medical staff had helped set up the isolation unit, but kept their distance after learning the patient's feces. You're making a mistake, Dr. Kazan, the chief medical officer, told her. The Vesperidians don't want our help. They see contact with other species as contamination. Then they can tell me that themselves when they wake up, Ilara replied, already preparing to treat the alien's injuries. For 3 days, Ilara worked almost continuously, leaving the isolation unit only when absolutely necessary. She analyzed the alien's blood, synthesized medications that wouldn't trigger adverse reactions, and carefully set the broken limbs. The beautiful crystalline filaments on the alien's head seemed to dim and brighten in rhythm with its breathing. Station personnel watched from a distance, some curious, others disapproving. Commander Reeves visited regularly, though he remained outside the isolation field. The Vesperidian vessel has sent a transmission, he informed her during one visit. They're demanding the return of their navigator. They'll be here in approximately 4 days. Navigator. Ilara looked down at her patient. Is that a rank? Unknown, but they made it clear they consider our intervention unauthorized and inappropriate. Reeves sighed. They also claim we violated their territorial boundaries. We're 20 light-years from the nearest charted Vesperidian outpost. Apparently, they disagree. Reeves studied the unconscious alien. Will it survive until they arrive? Ilara carefully adjusted one of the fluid lines providing nutrients. Not it. Based on my analysis, I believe the term she would be most appropriate. And yes, I think she will survive, though recovery will take time. On the fourth day, as Ilara was replacing a bandage on one of the Vesperidian's arms, she noticed movement. The alien's large iridescent eyes, 3 of them, arranged in a triangle on its face, began to open. Ilara froze, heart pounding. The Vesperidian blinked slowly, focusing on Ilara. Then, with surprising speed, it tried to sit up, only to fall back with a musical cry of pain. "Easy," Ilara softly, keeping her movements slow and deliberate. "You're safe. I'm a doctor, a healer. You were injured." The alien's 3 eyes stared at her, pupils dilating and contracting rapidly. One of its functioning arms moved toward a translator device Ilara had placed nearby. "You interfered," came a haunting, melodic voice from the translator. The words were accusatory, but the tone seemed more confused than angry. "You were dying," Ilara explained. "Your ship crashed. I'm Dr. Ilara Chen, cynobiologist on Outpost Helios." The alien's filaments rippled with color. "I am Vexari Nalor, navigator of the third sphere." She paused, studying Ilara with those strange eyes. "You touched me, treated me. This is forbidden." "I couldn't let you die," Ilara said simply. "Perhaps you should have." The alien replied, "My people are coming. They will not understand." Bridges between stars. Over the next 3 days, Ilara learned more about Vexari and her species than had previously been documented in all of Earth's cynobiological archives. The Vesperidians, it turned out, were not inherently hostile. They were private and deeply cautious due to a history of biological vulnerability. "Our physiology is unstable in the presence of certain foreign compounds," Vexari explained as Ilara checked the healing progress of her secondary right arm. "Early contact with other species resulted in devastating plagues. It is why we maintain distance." "But you were a navigator," Ilara said. "That implies travel, contact with others." Vexari's filaments shimmered, what Ilara had come to recognize as their equivalent of a smile. "I was researching ways to overcome our biological limitations. My ship contained experimental protective measures. I was returning from an unauthorized study of a stellar phenomenon when my vessel experienced catastrophic failure." "Unauthorized?" Ilara raised an eyebrow. "You were breaking rules too." "Curiosity is not highly valued in my society," Vexari admitted, "but I believe isolation has stunted our growth." Others disagree. Ilara could relate. Her own decision to join the outpost had been met with disapproval from colleagues who thought studying alien life directly was too risky compared to remote analysis. As they talked, Vexari taught Ilara about Vesperidian culture, their complex social structures, their advanced biotechnology, and their unique perspective on the universe. In return, Ilara shared stories of Earth, human history, and their exploration of space. "Your species embraces such diversity," Vexari observed, "yet you maintain cohesion. It is fascinating." "We haven't always managed it well," Ilara admitted, "but we've learned that our differences can be strengths." Commander Reeves interrupted their conversation with an urgent announcement. "Dr. Chen, the Vesperidian vessel has arrived. They're demanding immediate transfer of their navigator and threatening defensive action if we refuse." Ilara looked at Vexari, whose filaments had dimmed notably. "Your people are here." "Yes." The alien's voice was subdued. "Senior Navigator Tolvesh leads the recovery mission. He is traditional in his views." The commander continued. "They're sending a delegation to the station. They refuse to use our decontamination protocols and demand we prepare for their arrival according to their specifications." "We should comply," Vexari said quickly. "My people do not make idle threats." Within hours, the station was in turmoil. The Vesperidian delegation required specific atmospheric conditions in their meeting area, insisted on minimal contact with humans, and demanded all recordings be ceased. Commander Reeves agreed to their terms, though Donovan and several security personnel made their displeasure clear. The Vesperidian delegation was a striking sight. 5 tall figures with midnight blue skin and cascading crystalline filaments that reached to their waists. Unlike Vexeri, they wore elaborate protective suits that covered most of their bodies. Senior Navigator Tolvesh stepped forward, his translator emitting a cold, precise voice. "We have come for Navigator Vexeri Nalor. Prepare her for immediate transport." "She's still recovering," Ilara said, stepping forward despite Reeves' warning glance. "Moving her so soon could cause complications." Tolvesh's 3 eyes focused on her with obvious distaste. "You are the one who violated our biological sovereignty. You will be silent." Commander Reeves intervened. "Dr. Chen saved your navigator's life. We expect that to be acknowledged." "Interference is not assistance," Tolvesh replied. "Had Navigator Vexeri perished, it would have been according to natural law. Your contamination has compromised her." Ilara couldn't remain silent. "Vexeri has suffered no contamination. I've monitored her carefully. In fact, her recovery suggests that your species' fear of biological interaction may be exaggerated." The Vesperidian delegation reacted with visible agitation, their filaments bristling with color. Tolvesh stepped toward Ilara, looming over her. "You know nothing of our biology, or our history, human. Vexeri's reckless research and your interference represent a threat to our entire species. She will be returned and purified according to our protocols." "And if she refuses?" Ilara challenged. "Impossible," Tolvesh dismissed. "Navigator Vexeri understands her duty." "Perhaps you should ask her," suggested Commander Reeves, his voice calm but firm. "She's conscious and communicative. Surely her testimony about her treatment here is relevant." Tolvesh conferred briefly with his delegation before nodding curtly. "We will speak with her, alone." "I'll take you to her," Ilara offered, "but as her doctor, I stay." The meeting between Vexeri and her people was tense. Tolvesh spoke rapidly in their native language, his tone clearly accusatory. Vexeri responded with dignity, despite her weakened state, occasionally glancing at Ilara. "What is happening?" Ilara whispered to Commander Reeves, who stood beside her. "Politics," he murmured back, "and I suspect a power struggle. Notice how the others react when she speaks." Indeed, the junior members of the delegation seemed to pay special attention to Vexeri, their filaments displaying patterns different from those they showed Tolvesh. Finally, Tolvesh turned to address the humans. Navigator Vexeri confirmed she was treated without consent. However, she also claims her research data remains intact and that her observations during recovery are scientifically significant. "They are," Vexeri said, switching to the translator. "Dr. Chen's methods have demonstrated that controlled interaction is possible without catastrophic consequences. My immune system has not collapsed. In fact, it has adapted." "Adaptation is contamination," Tolvesh countered. "Or evolution," Vexeri replied. "The very thing my research seeks to understand." One of the junior delegates stepped forward. "Senior Navigator, Vexeri's readings do show remarkable stability. Perhaps her research has merit." Tolvesh's filaments flattened against his head, a sign of displeasure Ilara had learned. "You forget yourself, Junior Navigator, Tel Sora." "I remember my duty to truth," Tel Sora replied. "As should you." The confrontation might have escalated further if not for a sudden alarm from Vexeri's medical monitors. Ilara rushed to her patient's side, all political concerns forgotten. "Her central nervous system is spiking," she announced, checking readings. "This is a stress response. You need to leave, all of you." "We will not abandon," Tolvesh began. "You're killing her," Ilara interrupted fiercely. "Your presence is causing a dangerous physiological reaction. If you want her alive, you'll leave this room now." Commander Reeves backed her up. "All guests, please return to the conference area. Dr. Chen will stabilize the patient and join you shortly." Reluctantly, the Vesperidian delegation withdrew, leaving Ilara alone with Vexari, whose breathing had become erratic. "They're gone," Ilara said softly, administering a calming agent she'd synthesized. "Just breathe." Vexari's 3 eyes focused on her. "You stood against them. For me." "Of course I did. You're my patient." Ilara checked the readings again, relieved to see them stabilizing. "And my friend, I hope." "Friend." Vexari seemed to consider the word. "Yes, this is why I study other species, despite the risks. There is so much to learn from difference." When Ilara rejoined the others, she found a tense standoff. Tel Sora and 2 other junior navigators had positioned themselves separate from Tolvesh, a significant breach of protocol, according to what Vexari had told her about Vesperidian hierarchy. "Dr. Chen," Tel Sor addressed her directly, "is Navigator Vexari truly stable enough to travel?" "No," Ilara said firmly. "She needs at least another week of observation and recovery before she can safely be moved." "Then we shall wait," Tel Sor declared. Tolvesh's filaments darkened with rage. "You have no authority." "I have responsibility," Tel Sor countered. "As do we all. Navigator Vexari's research could transform our society's future. If she believes this human's methods have value, we should listen." What followed was an extraordinary week of careful diplomacy and scientific exchange. Guided by Vexari's insights, Ilara demonstrated her treatment methods to the junior navigators, who proved eager to learn. Even Tolvesh, grudgingly at first, began to participate in the discussions. By the time Vexari was strong enough to travel, a fundamental shift had occurred. The Vesperidians proposed a limited scientific exchange, the first in their history with humans. "We will establish a research outpost in neutral space," Tel Sor explained to Commander Reeves and Ilara. "Small teams from both species will work together on biological compatibility studies. Under strict protocols," Tolvesh added, still cautious but no longer openly hostile. On her final day at Outpost Helios, Vexari presented Ilara with a small crystal that shimmered with internal light. "What is it?" Ilara asked, turning the beautiful object in her hands. "A communication node," Vexari explained, "so that we may continue our discussions, even across the stars. After all, a single human taught me more about my own physiology than centuries of isolated research. And a single alien taught me that compassion transcends species," Ilara replied with a smile. "That's worth breaking a few rules for." As the Vesperidian ship departed, Commander Reeves stood beside Ilara in the observation deck. "You realize you've just made first contact history. The Vesperidians have never agreed to cooperation before." "I just did my job," Ilara said, watching the magnificent ship shimmer and vanish into hyperspace. "Healing isn't just about bodies. Sometimes it's about bridges." The crystal in her hand pulsed gently, as if in agreement.